Operation Confidence proudly presents America's Invisible Heroes Talk Radio Show. Tune in weekly on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time with your host, Consuelo Mackey. Co-host, Air Force veteran Matt Davidson. Announcers, Taylor Marcella and Brooke Gadesi. U.S. Army veteran and entertainment segment host, Charles Whitehead. U.S. Army veteran and strategies for hope segment host, Dr. Kathy Cash. U.S. Army veteran and Lifeline for Women Veterans segment host, Martha Elena Varela. National Director of Faith Services, Chaplain, and Veterans in Recovery segment host, Anthony Acampora. And U.S. Air Force veteran and Incarcerated to Success segment host, Kevin Lewandowski. For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Operation Confidence, America's invisible hero, invisible hero.
Operation Confidence is a grassroots nonprofit. The organization's mission is to provide stable housing for veterans who have experienced homelessness, as well as providing a wide range of supportive services. To help accomplish our goal, a successful landowner has donated land for the project, a world-renowned architect has offered to design the houses, and construction classes from the local community colleges will take part in building the houses. Your support and donations are needed. To get involved, please visit our website at www.operationconfidence.org or email info@operationconfidence.com.
Okay, welcome everyone. And thank you for tuning in to America's Invisible Heroes, a show that's dedicated to our veterans and their families. I'm your host, Consuelo Mackey, Executive Director of a grassroots nonprofit organization called Operation Confidence. I'm not a veteran, but my heart goes out to our American heroes, especially those who are disabled and have experienced homelessness. For those who are new to the show, American Invisible Heroes was established to provide a platform for our veterans to be able to share their experiences, heartfelt stories, resources, challenges, and accomplishments. Now, before we start the show today, we're going to have U.S. Army veteran, Dr. Wendy Childress to be able to give us a prayer for our veterans on this very, very special day.
Thank you, Connie. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you, first of all, for those who voluntarily served this country. Lord, we lift up those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, their life. We lift up those families who have also sacrificed their family members and their time. Father, we just ask that you be with them during this time, that you allow those of us that have benefited from their service to honor them in memory and honor their families. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray, amen. And Connie, before I leave, I just want to say this, because far too many times our servicemen and women are not appreciated and sometimes often looked down upon. And I just want to put this in the minds of all of those who are listening and watching on the various media outlets, that those men and women that serve this country are somebody's mother, they're somebody's father, they're somebody's sister, they're somebody's brother. They are daughters and sons. So please never forget that. And please understand that they are doing a job just like you. And so let's honor them for doing something that 99% of the country, you have like 1% of us that sacrifice and go in to serve this country. So please, let's not take them for granted. Let's not abuse them. Let's not neglect them. Let's not degrade or belittle them, but let's give them the honor that they deserve.
That is so true. I thank you for that. We needed
You're welcome.
that.
Yes. Okay. See you next time. I gotta
I know you have another appointment. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. See
And
you
I'm gonna
next
try and
time.
listen as long as I can. Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, board member Taylor Marcellus, we introduce our co-host for today.
On today's show, we have U.S. Army Reserve veteran Charles Whitehead, who is a board member and a co-host. We have attorney Eric Olsen and his monthly segment, Hope's Law Firm. We have U.S. Army Special Forces veteran Richard Cook and his bi-monthly segment, I Once Was Whole. And last but not least, Miss Ann Monigue and her bi-monthly segment, The Rosie's Movement.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. You must tell us what the true meaning of Memorial Day is all about, Taylor.
Yes. While Veterans Day is considered a celebration of all American military veterans, living and dead, Memorial Day is designated to honor those who died in service to our country. This is the day we pay homage to all those who didn't come home, explains author Tamara Bolton. It is a day of solemn contemplation over the cost of freedom. It is a day to pause and reflect upon the many service members who risked and ultimately lost their lives fighting on behalf of the United States, no matter when, where, or which military conflict was involved. There are many ways you can commemorate Memorial Day. Because it is considered a day of national mourning, if you fly an American flag, it should be flown at half staff until noon and then raised up for the remainder of the day. There is also a national moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. local time, where you are asked to pause for 1 minute of silence to remember our fallen. Many local and state organizations put on community events like parades that you can attend. You can also visit national memorials or cemeteries and place flags or flowers on the graves of the fallen. Many churches have special services, as do local chapters of the Veterans Association.
Wow, that's beautiful. Charles,
Mhm.
you have a video you want to share?
Yes, so I'm going to play the video and it's a little noisy one minute, but I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna mute myself out again. So this is a video I made for actually in honor of my father when he passed in 2012. It's called The Story Goes On. It's about the veterans who, the ones that go out to war and then they come back. And
Can you explain that your whole family, you come from a veterans family?
yeah, I have my mother, not my mother, my father, my brother, I have myself, I have uncles and aunts and cousins and everybody who are all who've been in the military. They're all the branches included. And so this video that I made, I guess it's been 11 years ago, is about, the story goes on. These guys come home, but yet the story goes on for some of them who get home safely. And even the ones that didn't make it, because it's like, we're kind of figuring out why these guys fighting, wars. Some of the wars, we don't know why, but yeah, it's called The Story Goes On. So I'm going to play that for you and then I'll mute myself out. Sorry, I'm in the desert here. I'm over in Barstow and I'm having technical problems. The heat is on, so I'll be back. Give me a second.
Hold on. Just hold on and let me check, okay?
They go, they had to leave home, but then we hope they make it back home. For those that don't, the story goes on and on and on and on and on. And
This is the time we take to celebrate our war veterans. Some of them make it home, some would never see home again. So many times that they were sent away to fight at war. Too many times we wonder what they're fighting for, but they had to leave home anyway.
they had to leave home.
We hope and pray that all of them make it home safe.
They make it home safe.
All of the ones ones that made it home now have to live their lives. For some it's a struggle every day, just trying to survive. Living life after war can really be a challenge indeed. Too many homeless vets are living in the streets. They made it home, but still the war is happening in their mind. How to let go is the answer that they're searching to find. They finally made it home.
They finally made it home.
And now we need to pray they can let the war go.
Let the war go.
Somehow it seems that though the cycle never has an end. We go to war, stop, and do it all over again. As for the ones that went to war and had to lose their lives, we won't forget to always keep their memories alive. Unlike a book that has an end and the story is done, some fight a war that has no end. So the story goes on, the story goes on,
The story goes on.
oh Lord, our men and women had to leave their homes.
They had to leave home.
The story goes on,
The story goes on.
oh yeah, it's good to know that most of them made it back home.
They made it back home.
Uh-huh, the story goes on,
The story goes on.
dear Lord, it's sad to know that some of them didn't make it home.
They didn't make it home. Oh, we hope they know they had to leave home. Again, we hope they make it back home. For those that don't, the story goes on and on and on.
Soldiers keep on leaving, they just keep on fighting. When they're gone, what they're seeing can be really quite frightening. We just have to keep praying. We just have to keep praying. We just have to keep praying that they all make it home. They're the ones that are paying for the freedom we own, for the freedom we own. And we need to appreciate that they're risking their lives, that they're risking their lives, and continue to celebrate all the ones that have died, all the ones that have died, the ones that have died. Oh Lord, bring them back home. Bring them home. Wow, that was beautiful. You wrote and produced that, right, Charles?
I sure did. I wrote, produced, and did everything.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Sorry.
Perfect timing for today. And I would like to say it for our amazing Tina Turner. We want her to rest in peace. She's such a legend and she'll truly be missed. Now, moving right along, Charles, you want to introduce our next co-host? Weehoo. You muted. Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right. Our next host is attorney Eric Olsen. Eric helps, OF helps nonprofit law firm, is a 501(c)(3) organization that represents seniors, retired, and disabled persons in all 50 states. He received communications from collectors with respect to debt as described by the Federal Fair Debt Collection Act, Collection Practice Act. Sorry about the noise. It helps, does not represent people in court or provide legal advice. Helps educate senior citizens and disabled persons about their legal rights and how to exercise them. As a general practice, helps, that's HELPS, does not refer cases to third-party attorneys for violations of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. In our experience, legitimate debt collectors understand the law and cease contact upon notice of representation. Today, Eric Olsen will share some important information such as, what about a car payment you can't afford? Do I need to worry about a judgment for a debt I owe? Why in almost every instance, your home, car, and other property is protected from debt collectors. And finally dealing with guilt and debt. So Mr. He's on, if you need to check, I'll give you his address, the website right now. It's www.helpsishere.org. That's www.helpsishere.org. Go ahead, Mr. Olsen, take it over.
Thank you, Charles. Can you hear me okay, everyone?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
How long? 10 minutes, Consuelo?
No, you can have a little longer than that.
Okay, good. Okay. So I'm glad to be here with you. And happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there that coming up here. And we want to honor your service. And so I'm the executive director of HELPS. HELPS is a national nonprofit law firm. And what we do is we protect seniors and disabled persons, including veterans who receive VA that are lower income from collector harassment. We also educate seniors, disabled persons, and veterans who receive protected income, how they can maintain their financial independence. So there are a couple of topics I want to talk about today that might be helpful or might be helpful for a friend you know, okay? First one is a car payment. You know, maybe a car payment you can't afford, or what do I do about a car? I need a car, I need transportation. And so I want to talk about that for a few minutes. So first off, I talk to a lot of seniors and disabled persons and veterans that may have a car payment that they're locked into that they simply can't afford to pay. Okay. And they find themselves maybe going without to try to maintain that car payment. Maybe it's a matter of coming up money for rent versus the car payment. First off, you should understand that if you receive protected income, what I mean by that is Social Security, a pension, disability, VA benefits, that income is protected by federal law. Okay. Retirement income is protected by federal law and state laws. So this type of income is protected, which means that it can't be taken from you. If you happen to owe a debt and someone were to sue you to get a judgment, they can't take it from you. It's protected. And there's even means that it's protected in your bank account. Okay. And we may talk about that in a second, a little bit more, but as far as transportation is concerned, if you find yourself locked with a car payment you can't afford and you're receiving protected income, I mean, you could choose to stop making the payment and let the car go back. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's your choice. You can do that. The contract you entered into with the car lender, with the lender who loaned you the money to buy the car, provided an out. You can stop making the payment. Now they can repossess the car. Eventually, okay, might take them a while. That's not the end of the world. They might take the car and then they would sell it. And if they don't get enough money for it, there's a difference called a deficiency. And now, do you have to pay that deficiency? No, you don't have to. If you receive protected income and you need your money for your needs, you don't have to pay that deficiency. Even if you were sued, which is kind of doubtful. I tell people that if you have a debt that you can't pay, maybe 1 to 2 times out of 10 would you ever be sued. But even if you're sued, they can't do anything to you. They can't take your money. It's protected. So letting a car go back is always an option. Now, I talked to someone this week. They had a car that was worth a lot of money. Maybe, I think it was like $15,000. And but they only load 5,000 on it, but they couldn't afford the car payment anymore. Her husband had passed away and part of his income had gone away, but they wanted the car, and the car was several years old and only had 7,000 miles on it. So
Wow, it's
I-
unheard of.
yeah, and it was worth a lot of money, but she could hardly afford the payment. I said, well, listen, you can sell the car. You don't have, you can sell the car, get the extra money, buy a car that's free and clear. Now you no longer have a car payment. You don't have to pay comprehensive or collision insurance. You're only going to have to pay liability. And now you're going to have that extra $500 for that car payment you've been making that you can't afford to help you with your living expenses. So that's always an option. Now, talk to a lot of seniors sometimes, or maybe they don't have a car. Maybe a car's gone back and they would like to get a car. Okay. A lot of seniors or people on lower incomes that's protected. They may not be able to afford a car payment, and a car payment sometimes can really drag you down. Okay. And it can be like a lead weight around your neck. So we're blessed to live in a land in which which Henry Ford was born in, and we have lots of used cars in this country. Lots of them. I mean, more than I imagine anywhere else in the world. There's a lot of cars at pretty affordable prices. Okay. Now, does that mean you have to borrow money from a used car dealer to buy a car? Not necessarily. And that isn't always the best idea. There's websites such as Craigslist, and I think Facebook Marketplace. I'm more familiar with Craigslist, where you can get on there and you can search for cars and trucks, and you can put in a little box that says owner only, and then you could type in a comment like runs good, or maybe Honda or Toyota. Now, depending where you live in the country, but I promise you're going to be able to find a car that's affordable. Now, I've told people for years that you can find a car for even $1,000. And so if you had a $500 car payment and it went back, you might be able to hang on to the car for a couple months, but you could save that $500. It is possible to get affordable transportation for not a lot of money. Now, and for a lot of seniors or people who just say, but they don't drive a lot. It's mostly the doctor or the store back. They're not like they're going cross country. So, and it's likely if you're buying a car from a private party, an owner, for example, they're going to be truthful about the condition of the car. Whereas if you buy it from a dealer, it's sold as is, no guarantee. You don't know what you're getting. Dealer may have gotten at an auction, could be a lemon. So you can get cars for a reasonable amount of money often. And obviously the more you're willing to pay, the better the car, but you'd be surprised and I've done it myself. I've done it for friends and family, kids buying a car runs good on the internet is a good way to get cheap transportation without having a car payment. Now, and owning a car isn't the end of the world. We've got more transportation options now than ever before in cities, mass transportation. And then we've got Uber and, different types of, taxi services that are less expensive than before. So, yeah, but, it's in the end, it's your decision. But sometimes it's a balance between, medicine and utilities and being able to pay the rent and the car payment. And sometimes the car payment may need to go, and you don't need to be worried about that. Even if they were to come after you, they don't have to take the money. So I talk to a lot of seniors and disabled persons that are worried about if they owe debt and they don't pay it, that someone's going to sue them and get a judgment. They're scared about that. They're scared about getting sued. And I've been an attorney, 44 years. Okay. And 30 or 40,000 bankruptcies. So I'm here to tell persons that are on protected income, like Social Security, VA benefits, retirement income, that their income is safe. Okay, can't be taken from it. It doesn't need to be used to pay debt you can't afford to pay. And if you can't afford to pay a debt, if someone were to sue you, you don't have to, if you owe the debt, you don't have to go to court. Okay. Now, if you don't go to court, they'll eventually going to get a judgment, but that doesn't mean you're going to have to pay the debt. Don't have to. Your income's protected. Twice the amount of federal benefits deposited into a bank account is automatically protected from garnishment under federal banking and regulations in effect for over 10 years now. So if you got $1,500 in Social Security and $500 in VA benefits, that's $2,000. $4,000 in your bank account is protected from garnishment. So I asked someone, they might say, well, Mr. Olsen, I never have more than $4,000 in my bank account. I say, you don't have anything to worry about. But even if you did, there's a way to get the excess released. Now, sometimes you might get a notice that say you have to go to court. Well, you know, that's if you're going to contest it. But if you're not going to contest it, they can't collect. Okay. And the problem is, you get on the internet and you start, if you have financial problems, you start reading about this. No one tells you about your protected income. And I'm here, that's what I'm here to tell people about, is that your income is safe, it's protected. Now, it's protected for a reason. Our lawmakers didn't want our seniors, they didn't want our veterans that are poor or lower income or disabled persons to go without their basic needs, to be able, if they ended up having to pay debt they couldn't afford to pay. And you know, people don't get in these problems intentionally. They don't do it on purpose. It's life. Things happen to people. You know, a spouse passes away. Maybe you're helping your brother, your sister, your children, and or you lost a job, or some tragedy happened in your life, you know, or you incurred a medical expense you weren't counting on, or, you know, hey, you bought that car and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, that was a mistake. So no, people do not go into debt intentionally with the idea they're not going to pay it. But if you can't afford to pay it, lawmakers protected that money. And there's a reason you don't need to feel guilty. Why? Because lenders charge interest. They know at the beginning of the year what percentage of the debts people aren't going to be able to afford to pay. And that's factored into the interest rate they're charged. So your contract says, yeah, you need to pay the debt, but it also says if you can't afford it, this is the consequence. Now, the contract says, you know, you have to pay interest. The reason you pay that interest is it's a factor for those people that end up not being able to pay the debt. So you don't need to be guilty if you find yourself in that kind of position. Okay. Well, then people wonder, how am I doing? We're okay?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. Give me, if I get, or let me know, Consuelo, if I get over, but I'll be quick. So sometimes people say, well, Eric, you know, if I get a judgment, can they come take my property from me? I may be worried about my home, or can they come in I talked to a lady she emailed me this week. She, you know, if they sue me and get a judgment, they're going to come into my home and look at what I have. And the answer is no, that's not going to happen. Okay. Collectors who happen to sue people and do not come in your home to look at your assets. Okay. Your assets in your home are protected. It's a practical matter, and that would never, ever happen. Now, some people might try to say, well, you know, they could come in, if you had value over a certain amount of property, they're going to take it. Well, okay. There's the law, and then there's also the real world, and we live in the real world. You know, the law might say, if the speed limit is 55, if you go 56, you could technically get a ticket. Are you going to get? No way. Okay. So no, there's a law. And then what happens? The rule: creditors do not take people's assets, which means your assets are protected under state law. State laws protect a certain amount of assets, like your household goods, equity in a car, all kinds of different, you know, property that you own. Okay. But even if you live in a state and you have something that's worth more than that, are you going to lose that if someone gets a judgment? No, they just consumer judgment creditors do not come after people's real personal property. They just don't do it. And there's laws that protect a home too. I won't go into those two, but you don't have to be worried about losing your property. It's not going to happen. Now, and if you have questions on this, the law firm that I started, Helps, it stands for Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors and Disabled Persons. And we help a lot of veterans. I'll talk about that in conclusion. But if you have any questions, you can always call and talk to us. We don't turn anyone away. We protect seniors from collector harassment. We also educate them and disabled persons, how you can maintain their financial independence. But in conclusion, I want to talk about, and I've talked about this before, but it always worth to mention, is there's a benefit that's available to veterans, okay? And it's very much unknown, largely. It's called aid in attendance, okay? That benefit is available to veterans and their spouses, okay, who served during time of conflict. They have to have been in the service for at least 90 days and have served at least 1 day during time of conflict. It doesn't mean that they have to be in the theater. So for a lot of veterans that I work with, it's Vietnam, okay? Now, it starts from about in country from 1964, but anytime about, I forget the date, in 1965 up through, I think it was May 15th of 1975. So 10 years. If you served in the military in any capacity for at least 90 days, had any discharge at all other than a dishonorable discharge, and at least 1 day during that period, you very well may qualify for that benefit. Now, if you pass away, your spouse, your widow or widower can qualify for that benefit. And what it can do, depending on your income, it can give you more than a couple $1,000s in extra income to help you take care of your basic needs. Okay. Now, a lot of seniors aren't aware of this benefit because it's called a veteran's pension. And a veteran that was in the service for 3 years might think, well, I wasn't in the service long enough to get a pension. Well, but to qualify for that, all you have to be is either have to be disabled or over 65. If you're over 65, the military defines you as being disabled, and you can qualify that if you're lower income. Now, you can either have more income but have a lot of medical expenses and other type of expenses and still qualify for that benefit. So I think, if you have questions about that, anyone can contact Helps. We have emails that explain that benefit and give you some guidance on how you might be able to get that benefit.
Can you give us your email address again?
Oh, well, yeah. My personal email is for anyone, director@helpsishere.org. But
repeat that, please.
Director, DIRECTOR @helps, HELPS is here.org. HELP stands for Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors. Helps. Okay, we're all over the internet. All you have to do is type Helps Nonprofit Law Firm. We got YouTube videos on this very topic about aid in attendance, about transportation, about lawsuits and why you don't have to worry. Our main purpose is to, protect seniors from collectors harassing them. That's what we do under a federal law, so they don't have to deal with collectors anymore. But our second mission is to educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. And you can, even if you're really low income, this country has benefits or things that are available to you to make it so that you can live independently. Okay?
That's great.
So that's my message for today.
Richard has his hand up.
Go.
Yeah, I have two questions. One, the state of California is still looking at, I'm trying to get the word, bear with me, is still looking at doing something to my income because they want their money for what I've done for income. So the thing, that's the state of California. Do you do anything for people under those type of areas where states wanted to go and take your income?
Okay, good question. Yes, you're talking about the California Franchise Tax Board.
Correct.
Okay, so for people that aren't part of California, that is the Department of Revenue for the state tax collector in California. Okay, So, yeah, let me tell you the law, Richard. The law protects your Social Security, your pension, your VA benefits, okay, from debt collectors, including a state tax collector.
Okay,
So your Social Security can't be taken by the state of California. Neither can your pension or your VA benefit.
okay.
Can't be taken. So if you owe state income taxes that you can't afford to pay, you don't have to pay it. I don't encourage people not to pay their taxes, but I want to let them know that if they can't afford to, if it's a matter of their basic need, they don't have to. The law says it's protected. And so if you get a federal benefit like Social Security and a VA benefit, and that's deposited into your checking account, if the state of California were to try to garnish your bank account, your bank or credit union protects twice that sum from any type of garnishment, including from a state tax collector.
Okay.
Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're gonna make sure that Richard has your phone number. He's visually impaired somewhat, so I'll make sure he has it. And he'll
Well,
be
yeah.
contacting you.
It's easy to.
Also with what you just said about the information prior to that, about my brain damage.
Aid in attendance.
Yes, I have through the VA where I'm at, Los Angeles, they get me to where they still denied it.
Yeah, well, I can't talk about your individual situation. Yeah, there's reasons they could deny it, but our phone number, I'll just 855-HELPS-US, HELPS-US, or helps us.
Okay.
Okay. But once again, we're all over the internet. And then
You had to say that slow.
855 helps US or helps us. 855-435-7787. Okay.
Okay.
And
Great.
we don't turn anyone away that needs our help. But and we're the
And
only
donate.
law from the nation that does what we do. There's a lot of seniors need this help. They're very thankful when they find us.
Right.
Yeah, they really
That's
are.
amazing. Well, that was a great presentation.
I
Thank
have
you so
I
much.
have a comment before you go. When you talk about someone who served during conflict and in theater, can you clarify that for someone who may not know exactly what you're talking about?
Well, okay. So yeah, okay. What that means is you do not have to have been in Vietnam, for example,
Right.
to qualify for the benefit. You can be anywhere in the world. All you have to have been is in the service during that time period, for at least one day during the time period when we were in conflict, but in the service for at least 90 days. So like if you were in there and you're in boot camp, got left after 60 days for whatever reason, you don't qualify. But if you're in for 90 days and then they sent you to Germany or Alaska, you qualify. Okay.
So what I'm getting at is, when you say in conflict, like during a time of war.
Yeah, and then the VA, they stipulate what those times are. World War II, Korea, and I know the dates for Korea, but most of our Korean veterans have passed away. There's not very many, but there's a lot of Vietnam veterans. And then now the Gulf conflict, that's from about 1989, 1990 up to the current time. Okay, so we're talking 30 years now,
Right.
Gulf conflict. But most of those seniors aren't 65 yet. But if they're disabled, then they qualify. But once again, if they turn 60, when they turn 65, even if they're perfectly healthy, they're termed disabled by the VA. So
And that's great. I understand that. I just wanted to make sure people know what you mean by
by conflict.
And in theater means like within the actual front of the war.
No.
The war.
They don't have to have been in Vietnam or wherever.
Right.
Just in
So
the armed service.
when you say theater, you mean like in any particular war, right?
Right.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure people understood
Right.
it.
If people have questions, we have an email. We can send them with the details and stuff.
Right. No, that's
Okay.
great. That's all I wanted to do is make sure people,
bet.
because not everybody's
You
No
understand
legal
theater? We
mumbo
put
jumbo, right? You know,
we
like
associate that with the theater.
yeah, you know, they were like, hey, wait a minute, it was a war theater. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we clarify that. So
Right.
thank you. Good
And
information.
one other thing before we leave, you had mentioned that if you can't pay your car note, you can go get one from what's that? Those
Craig.
different
Craigslist.
Craigslist. What guarantee if you're a senior that you're not gonna get a lemon?
What kind of what now?
A lemon.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let me explain again. Consuela, if you had a car that you wanted to sell, okay,
I mean
And
purchase.
you personally, and you're going to advertise that on Craigslist for people to read, and you know that car had a lot of problems, would you say on that listing, I have a 2005 Toyota that's in really good condition, is perfect? Would you say that in your listing?
I wouldn't, but somebody else would because they may want to get rid of the
Well,
car. That's why
No,
I'm
listen,
trying to.
let me explain. My experience is that private parties do not lie about a condition of a car. Now, that's not a guarantee. It's different than a car dealer. A car dealer plasters a piece of paper on the car that says as is, no guarantee. But a private party doesn't want you calling them next week and saying, Consuela, you advertise this car as being really good. Now I get it and I find out it's a piece of junk. You know, they don't want to get a call back. And so, yeah, I mean, you could always find someone, I guess, that's dishonest. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the person that's dishonest probably wouldn't say anything about it. They definitely wouldn't say that it runs good and there was no problems with it. So
Yeah.
that's my personal experience. And I found that to be true. Now, I guess there's always exceptions.
Well, you want to come back and share some more information with me. Running out of time a little bit
Yep.
now, but
I'm done.
that was-
Yeah, thank you. If you
that
don't mind, I'm gonna need to go because I got some grandkids
Yeah.
waiting for me.
oh, okay. I
But
understand.
we'll talk to you next week, and I really
Thank-
appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, we enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Okay, God bless you as well. Taylor,
Yes,
can you
ma'am.
introduce our sweetheart Ann Monigue representing the Roses movement?
Of course, Anne Monigue is a Rosie's daughter. Some of her first memories are about the Homefront War effort, saving Greece and taking it to the store to be used in the war effort, their large victory garden, and her mother going to work in the morning feeling well, but coming back dizzy from inspecting lenses at what they called the war factory. Rosies are the surviving women who worked on the home front for the war effort during World War II. We encourage people to find them, learn what they did, and get Americans to work with them now, though they are above 90, to do projects that leave a lasting record of their legacy. Each Rosie is different, and each story has the human touch. And when you put their stories together about what they did during the war, their legacy is more than one story. Thus, their legacy is to do today what they did in World War II, which is to pull together to do high quality work to keep and use our freedom. Most Rosies are deceased. We are in a marathon to find all living Rosies and to get communities and the nation to find ways to work together to assure they are not forgotten. Rosies did all kinds of work, from riveting planes, building ships, made uniforms and tents, farmed for food for the troops, cut metal, inspected lenses, and hundreds of other things. Welcome, Anne.
Before Ann gives her presentation, we would like our audience to know that we've had some of Ann's Rosies on the show before, and those ladies, I mean, unbelievable. We're talking 98, 99, 100 years old, very articulate, remember everything that happened while they were in helping our veterans in World War II, and they know exactly what's happening today. And they've had such funny stories to tell, and
Yeah.
plus informative. But we want to thank you so much for that, Ann.
And I appreciate this opportunity as always, for sure. I want to bring you up to date on what's happened even since our event on May 15th, when the Embassy of the Netherlands had us as a guest at a very special event at Arlington Cemetery. So what's happened in the last couple of days is that on Wednesday, I was essentially the only speaker for Run for the Wall. Of course, these are bikers who came, they started in Los Angeles, and I'm not sure, but I think they went into DC either tonight or possibly last night. Excuse me. I didn't know ahead of time exactly what, well, I didn't even expect to be a speaker, but it worked out so well for me because I like to think that we are constantly talking to not just leaders and professional people and people who have been trained to be distant with the people. I like to think that we are always trying to include the people. And so this was a great experience for me. I'm going to go into screen share and show you what happened here. The first of all, the event was at a little town called Hurricane, West Virginia. You don't say hurricane, you say Hurricane, which I learned from their mayor that day. It's about maybe 30 miles west of me. And it's between where I am now and my hometown. What happened was I expected that I was going to be one of several speakers. And of course, when I got there, I realized, my goodness, I'm the only speaker except for the mayor, which I don't know if you count that or not. But I'm trying to do two things at once here. Charles, it's disappearing when I'm trying to enlarge it. Why is that happening? Do you know?
Oh, it was there. We saw it when you shared it. There's nothing to show here. So do you have your document open already or is it minimized?
It's minimized.
Open it up all the way and then it'll share it because it's not going to look
Okay.
for it
All right.
minimized.
So sorry, I didn't know that just a minute. Well, not sure. I'm not sure I can do that. It's essentially not wanting me to open it.
If you can view it, then it's shareable. If you can't see it, like it's minimized, it's not. So just, like usually you have
There
a,
we go. There we go. That's one photo. So yes, good. Thank you. So here we are. Here I am on this stage, and these really, honestly, they're country people putting this together. And all at once, this huge fire truck comes in, and I can't imagine why they need a fire truck. Now you see that great big parking lot there. That was for the bikers. And this is before the bikers came in, and I kept wondering, what in the world do they need a fire truck for? Well, little did I know that the fire trucks are brought in because their ladders are so huge, and they can put a humongous American flag on the fire truck. So that fire truck is called the Big Joe. There was another one to the other side. The flag that was on this fire truck was American flag. The one was on the other side of the stage was prisoners of war. So I found that really very interesting to sit there. The breeze was nice and the day was beautiful.
And you were the guest speaker there?
Yeah. And now here I am. Nobody took a picture of me speaking as usual, but here I am with the bikers. Now their bikes were all along the back here. There were 360 bikers. And so I expected that I was going to be one of several speakers, as I said, and it turns out that after this fellow got, people's attention, the next thing I know, I'm up there and I'm able to look at the crowd and realize this is what I want our project to be about, because these were common, ordinary people, working class people, country people. And they
Who
were
is that cute little lady on the motorcycle?
Yeah, well, that's Betty Canute.
Oh, that's Betty.
What happened was when I go to the podium there, of course, I had to have assistance since I can't walk. But I'm just going to read to you what I said to them. And actually I had libbed, but it's pretty much this. Virtually every community in America had women who worked on the home front during World War II. People often call these women Rosies, Rosie the Riveters, but they want to be called just Rosies since most were not riveters. Rosies did thousands of jobs. For example, they welded ships, grew and processed food for our troops, broke codes, wired headphones, delivered secret messages, and it goes on. My own mother inspected lenses for periscopes and binoculars and guns in my hometown of Huntington, West Virginia. And I can remember each morning that she went to work, watching her get dressed and watching her look more and more proud and more beautiful, even though she was terribly, terribly malnourished and skinny. That she would then lean down, look me in the eye and say, Anne, you know, I have to go. You are not to cry. I'm doing what I have to do, and someday you'll understand. I looked up at the bikers about that time, and they were really listening to me. And I said, you know, these women, such as my mother, were born at the confluence of two really serious things in the world. First was World War I. My mother's born in 1918. The next was the pandemic, meaning the Spanish flu. So they grew up very serious. Then when my mother was 10, was the Great Depression. And some people really had a hard time eating, and that included my mother. But here I was with my mother, with me being born just a few weeks before Hitler invaded Poland, and my sister being born just a few weeks after America entered the war with Pearl Harbor. And it essentially taught me that what my mother would say to me constantly is, you must study and prepare yourself, and someday your chance will come. That taught me that it might not be easy, but you never quit preparing. And some way or another, if you're prepared, it will happen. They really related, and I was looking around at these men, primarily there were a few women, and they were really hearing me. And I said, during the war, Rosies were a huge force in doing what had to be done for freedom. There were as many women who worked on the home front as there were men in the military. And Rosie's goal was to bring our boys home and to heal the veterans after they came home. There was no hint of girl power or some sort of message that women deserved their turn. They just assumed that we would be unifying, and it took us all to make that happen. And to quote Thomas Paine, the cause of freedom is the cause of the world. And that the time has found us. We have not found this time. We are back in the time now that has found us. And we have to do quality work, and we have to do it fast, and we have to do it cooperatively like the Rosies did. And after the war, Rosies not only nurtured veterans injured in body and spirit, but they raised children like myself who believed in America and the basic principles of America. And now Rosies show that women are important in getting to the unity we must have to continue our work for freedom. And the fact that they are in their mid-90s or above does not mean that we ignore them. As a matter of fact, because they have lived over a century that has seen more change in any century in the history of humankind, they're very, very important. Today, our Rosies are fading fast, but we at Thanks Plain and Simple are working with people across America to improve our communities while we learn to work together. That's what the Rosies did, and that's what America needs to do again today. Run to the wall bikers are critical COVID slowed us, but together we need to be rolling again. Thanks is here to share ideas and guidance. It's we the people who have the freedom to unify. If we don't work together, we waste our hard-fought freedom at this critical time for all of us. Then I showed them, or excuse me, we had a handout later on. They didn't have anything in their hand at that time, but as we went into the dining room, they got a handout with these pictures and other information on it. And we basically said to them, both verbally and in the handout, that as they go back home, that they need to learn what their communities want to do and will do to honor American Rosies, not because it's just women, but because they symbolize unity. And that they should always remember that the power that we have is in the people. It's not just in our leaders. When we show our own power and our own determination and our own quality work and our own ability to cooperate, essentially the elected officials and others will start paying attention to us. Then I quoted Nancy Sipple, who died, and she inspected airplane engines in Cincinnati, Ohio. Had a great story of the first day she went to work. They had chosen somewhere around 50 women. They lined them up in front of a huge glass wall. They started an engine on the other side of the wall, an airplane engine. The whole room shook. And they said to the women, now, you're not making engines, you're making small parts for engines, but even the smallest part is important, because if that part is inspected by you and it's really faulty, then you are killing our men. You are as bad as our enemy. And Nancy never forgot that. So before she died, and it was April of 2012, she gave me this quote: "We pulled together then, we can do it again, it's our only hope." So that picture of her there is before COVID. She presented to the bikers who came through Hurricane West Virginia. I'm not sure of the year. I think it might have been 2019, but I'm unsure. And she could not get on a Harley, but they lifted her up and put her on a Harley. So I've told them that next year I want to speak again. I really, really enjoyed it. And next year, I'm going to be a blanket for a biker. I want to be a blanket, and I want, meaning the woman behind, and hold on to his waist. And I want to be delivered to my home by a biker. They think that's funny, but they know I'm really serious about it. So it was a wonderful day. When we got into the dining hall, well, first of all, when I got back to my seat from the stage, which was just a matter of a minute, maybe at the most, and sat down, there was somebody sitting next to me, and he said, "Can I hug you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I said, "Who are you?" And he gave me his name. And then I realized, oh my gosh, that's a biker. How did he get up on this stage? And I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Hawaii." And I said, "But you're a biker?" He said, "Yeah, I flew to Hawaii, and I've been essentially traveling with the group from Los Angeles. And I want you to know that your speech is more meaningful to us than any that we have heard along the way."
That's too bad you didn't get any pictures of you on stage.
Nobody ever takes a picture of me, Consuela.
Why?
Because I'm a giver and people don't give back.
Oh,
It's just the way it is.
You have to tell them, yeah, in order to get that, which is ridiculous.
Mhm.
But the point is that then when I went into the lunchroom, they sat me very near the front door so that when the line of men came in to be served, they would be passing my table. And one by one, they came and sat with me, sometimes 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes just 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh,
And I was definitely in my element. Here I
okay.
am with Harvard degrees and all kinds of academic accolades and serious work that I've done and a serious personality. And I have
Beautiful.
not been acknowledged by our official leaders. I have been acknowledged by the Embassy of the Netherlands and the people of the Netherlands and some allied nations. But I felt more honored to be recognized by bikers than I did any politician who could have ever essentially thanked me for that day.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah,
We're
it was a
proud
good
of you.
day. It really lifted my spirits because I've always been looking for who are the groups around America who are unified enough and to pass the word and give us the support of all their members. We've
That
tried,
is so beautiful.
yeah.
So are they gonna have any any bike fundraisers for the Rosie anytime soon?
I have no idea. I've never talked to leadership. These were just bikers. I don't know anything about the leadership.
That'd be wonderful.
So
Well, thank you so much, Ann. That was a beautiful presentation. Maybe when you come back, you can show me what those pictures that you have of the Rosies. And maybe that video, remember they had the video taken by, what was that, NBC or something with some of the original Rosies? Remember that news news presentation, I think NBC or ABC did. Remember that?
you're talking about the Today Show.
Was that the Today Show? Yeah,
Yeah.
when all the ladies were there.
Yeah, there were
You have
50
to come
women.
back and show
Actually,
that.
there were 49 because one woman couldn't find her way. She missed the signs. So there
Wow.
we had but 49 women present, and they came. Some of them even flew by themselves from
Oh my goodness.
from other states and so forth. So yeah, it was a red letter day, but that's 2012 now. That's 11 years ago.
That's
That was
okay. It's still
March
beautiful.
29th. Yes, it still is important. It's important.
Mhm. Well, we look forward to you coming back on. Charles, you have Rosie's ending video that we have.
I have her.
And this is the same buddy that is on your video there.
Can you stop sharing, Ann, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's like a month, but the other ones, because they're so long ago. Okay. Yeah, because the knee was more recent. Right? Yeah, I used this last week. So painful.
Well,
Football. And then I was running for the ball, and then I like.
You have to
I'm
go.
not. Oh, I see.
Then I tried to.
That's all right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought it was just-
Okay.
I tried to straighten, and then it got me separating it. I hit my head on a brick. Because we're running the track with my friends today. And then, did it knock you out?
I am Buddy Canute, a former Rosie the Riveter. I riveted P-40 pursuit planes during World War II. We did our part back then. Now, can you step up and help the Rosies pull America together again? Please call 304-776-4743. That is 304-776-4743.
That's quite dangerous.
All right. Yeah. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Charles. I know that you have to mute you. I hear your family in the background. But anyway, we're moving right along here. The show is almost coming to the end. We have our next guest, who's a regular on the show, and that's Richard.
Yes.
Richard Cook.
US,
Yeah, take it away, Taylor.
U.S. Army Special Forces veteran Richard Cook Sr. was a sergeant who fought for our country for over 30 years, served across the world in places such as Italy, the Hawaiian Islands, and Haiti. During his service, he had a family and launched a career in entertainment, hosting a weekly radio show while representing models and actors. Sergeant Cook's greatest battle occurred far after he returned from overseas. Out of the blue, an undetected tumor on his heart caused a massive stroke that required emergency surgery. While Sergeant Cook survived, he suffered substantial brain damage that led to vision loss, body weakness, and aphasia. This marked the beginning of an enlightening journey to beat the odds and rediscover himself. On May 20 to the 23rd of this year, Richard participated in the National Veterans Golden Age Games in Des Moines, Iowa. Founded in 1985, the National Veterans Golden Age Games serves veterans ages 55 years and older. Through its fitness for life motto, the Golden Age Games offers sports competitions and health education sessions to demonstrate the value that sports, wellness, and fitness provides to assist senior veterans' lives, an active and healthy lifestyle. The National Veterans Golden Age Game is a qualifying event for the National Senior Games. Sergeant Cook also has a book on Amazon titled I Once Was Whole that will inspire you to never stop reaching your goals. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Nell. Well, I'm going to start this way as best as I can because the aphasia is still in my system. That's not going to go away. I'm going to try to talk as best as I can and let me know if I talk good because I'll tell my speech therapist that I'm speaking better. But
No, you're
anyway,
doing beautifully.
thank you very much.
You're a role model for us all.
The Golden Age Games was very important to me because there was two reasons. I wanted to prove to other stroke survivors, whatever they're going through, you can still be able to receive and get more independent based on your stroke conditions. Actually, it's for anybody with a disability. So whatever mine was strokes, like I said, 3 strokes. February of that same year, 2016, I had a major stroke. I didn't know what it was, but I had a major stroke. I was going to a birthday party, but I couldn't get there. I had to pull over and stop into a supermarket and just sit there to see if maybe it'll go away. I don't know if it was a stroke, but it was a major stroke. So at that point, in June 2016, I was going to go pay my phone bill. It's a type that you have to go to their store and make that payment. But I couldn't even get into the door, and it swings left and right. That's what the door does, but I couldn't open it. But then I had people think I was drunk. Now, keep in mind, I do not drink. I haven't drank actually anything over 40 years. But they thought I was drunk. That's the aphasia, because I couldn't talk right, and I sounded like I was drunk because the aphasia makes you sound that way. So the thing is, they had no choice, but one of the security guards said, well, look, I'm going to call the police. In turn, the police showed up. The police said, oh, we're going to call an ambulance. They called the ambulance, and the ambulance arrived, and they said, it looks like he's going to have a stroke. So they rushed me to the hospital nearest by, because anything that's where they're located, because if they took me all the way to VA hospital, I could have died. But the doctors at the hospital there looked into everything, did an MRI right away, and found that I had a tumor clogging my blood flow in my heart, which was a tumor caused by a lot of cholesterol because they biopsied it. But why did I have cholesterol so high? I can only relate back in the Army days that I was eating a lot of MREs, and the MREs back in 2000 had a lot of cholesterol. They have those so you can be energized to go and do things that you need to do in missions, but they're not.
We're non-veterans. What is that?
MREs, meals ready to eat.
Oh,
so
okay.
Little packages. And now you see something very similar when you go to get tuna from the grocery stores. They're little small packages, and that's what in that aspects. So the thing is, overcoming the strokes, I've been trying to teach other stroke survivors how to eat right, how to do things physically as well too for exercises, and also how to be able to still work with your brain damage like mine is the aphasia to able to do things effectively for your recovery. Now, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to consider this, but I think my doctors will agree. But everything seems to be fully recovered. I just have to do things differently now, which means I can't drive anymore because I can't see to do that. So I take the buses. I don't mind. It's comfortable, less stress, but I'm going to do those as well too. But so physically, I've been working for the past 3 months for the winter sports clinic, which I had sent that last month or so, what I'll do there with the winter sports clinic. Now this year, or this month in May, was the Golden Age Games. Now I want to show other stroke survivors, whether they're veterans or regular stroke survivors, of what I was able to achieve at that aspect. So achieving was still doing things in regards to that. So the achieving is great. Right there is the blue ribbon. The blue ribbon is what I did for 6th place for what's known as the 1,500-meter power walk. Now keep in mind, in 2016, I couldn't walk at all. All I could do was limp because the brain damage caused me unable to be walking. Now,
These are ribbons that you won, right?
Yeah, the 4th place ribbon was for cornhole. Now that's a type where I used to call it beanbag toss, but they call it cornhole. So the thing is, I hit several of the areas to make it in the hole for cornhole. So I got awarded the 4th place ribbon. So that's what you see me right there, taking the 4th place ribbon given to me. And then I got good at shuffleboard. That's going to be coming up. Shuffleboard was something I participated. Actually, I'm sorry, let's back up a little bit. This here is for the 1,500-meter power walk. The point is, I'm walking like I'm normally walking. Now, Mr. Poole was out there for his power walk as well too. Of course, he's not on today. We'll save his photos for next time. But he did pretty good on his power walk. So the thing is, by power walking,
okay, just a minute.
You have to have your knees were power walking compared to speed walking. Speed walking, you can't bend your knees. Power walking, you're allowed to bend your knees. As you can see right there, you can bend your knees. Now, keep in mind, the strokes caused me so much brain damage, I couldn't physically do anything back in 2016. So what happened was, I got these, I'll raise it up. This is the 4th place ribbon for what I got with cornhole. Then I got for power walking, yes, it's a 6th place ribbon. The thing is, it's 6th place. I don't mind that because I couldn't walk back in 2016. Then I did shuffleboard. Shuffleboard, I end up doing this, if you can see here. Okay, that's actually for the ski clinic back in March. The thing is, I skied down the slope. Now keep in mind, well, they had to held me back to go slow enough to ski at a good rate, but not to go so fast I could. So that part, but right here, right here, this I won with shuffleboard. Now keep in mind, I'm visually impaired, so it's hard for me to see. But the thing is, I won in the shuffleboard this ribbon. I'm in gold medal. So once I pass that yellow line right there, you'll see as I pass the yellow line, that's the finish line.
Hey, you can see this. Sorry.
Now, this part, like I said, is a gold medal for shuffleboard. Now keep in mind, I cannot see the board that well, but I got that gold ribbon for shuffleboard.
That's amazing.
So stroke survivors shouldn't give up on themselves. They should find ways, whatever they're going through, find ways how to do things. That way they can still do it.
This is when you were skiing, right? This is when you went here.
as well as mentally and visually. That's why I
Wow,
came
that's
up to the
amazing.
yellow line right there, or the yellow post. That's the end at that point. So it's not coming yet. It's coming up pretty soon. So it was a pretty good slope. Yeah, he's holding me back because he goes pretty fast. So that's why he holds back so I go at a good speed. And that's the yellow post right there. Finish line.
Whoa, that's amazing, Richard. I told you were a super dude.
And so the
You're a
thing
role
is,
model.
thing is, stroke survivors just need to learn how things can work for them.
Just
and
don't
not
give up.
And
Right.
people who are still stroke survivors that are having some trouble, the point is, look at it in a very positive way and try to see what can be done to eliminate the trouble that's bothering you. Okay.
Well, we
I
need
do
you
have-
to come back in 2 weeks so you can share your artwork too. That Lauren. Lauren will be here in 2 weeks.
I got some new photos, but the thing is, what I want to say is, don't give up. Continue what you're doing, and you can find ways to have that. So I'm going to start a new book. I'm going to give you the title right now, because that's going to be something in development. It's going to be, as we know, this one was known as "It's Not a Race, It's a Journey." Now, this one was the journey has completed.
That's beautiful.
That's going to be the title, okay?
And you have the first one, I Once Was Whole.
I once was whole, then I wrote It's
That's
Not a
on
Race,
Amazon.
and this one, the journey is completed.
Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. So proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
I must give you a warning. I'm in a place where I don't have any juice, and I may have 10 minutes worth of power left. So
Okay, we signing out now.
well, I know we got a couple more things. So I just want to let you know, I'm gonna give you a 2-minute warning.
Okay.
After about-
Taylor, you want to give us this presentation real quick? Weehoo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
My neighbor Jerry is a 53-year-old father of 4 children. He's independent, has a house, raised a family, and his adult kids still look to him for support. Jerry recently retired as a computer programmer and helping living a normal life. And Jerry also has had a disability for over 35 years. In 1976, on December 3rd, the same day that the International Persons with Disability Day is recognized, Jerry was hit by a drunk driver. The accident left him as a partial paraplegic. Jerry's life is not defined by his disability. He lives life just like anyone else without a disability. He says there's a lot I can do, and there are some things that I can't do. I drive, I invest money, and not rich, but I'm not poor either. He once was being prepared for surgery when a nurse proclaimed he doesn't need an epidural because he's a paraplegic. Jerry had to inform the nurse that he was only a partial paraplegic and that he would indeed need an epidural. Another instance, Jerry was in line at a local courthouse to renew his parking permit and renew his son's registration. He watched a worker walk down the line and ask people, "What do you need?" When she got to Jerry and saw his wheelchair, she asked him, "Who's here with you?" He has seen many barriers in attitude towards people with disabilities, but he's also seen many positive changes as well to live an active life through recreational opportunities such as golf, fishing, and even snow skiing. There are now organizations such as the one where Jerry works, part-time coaching youth basketball and track that provides recreational opportunities. Jerry states, "I don't expect the world to revolve around me because I will adapt. Just make it possible so that I can adapt."
All right, that's beautiful. Okay, Charles, we're moving right on to you. We're gonna start ending the show. Do you have enough juice? Weehoo.
And minimal. Yeah, it's I'm in the red box now. I'm at 10%. So It's been.
You want to sign off and we can do this next week?
Yeah, let me, I can say, say what I have to say about this. Yeah, we got this 109-year-old guy. I know I can,
Okay.
save him for next week or, do my
Yeah,
little.
that video is quite long, but we have to show him. That's a 109-year-old veteran and his secret for life that will make us smile. So we'll save that for next week. I know you won't have enough juice. Taylor, sign us off. We're ready to go. We want to thank everybody for being on the show today. It was a great show, although we had a few glitches.
Just a few.
It didn't bother us though.
Hey, my comeback on that is the Super Bowl is the most interesting and visited or watched
Right.
in the world. And if they had a 30-minute power outage, it tells you right there, nobody's exempt.
There you go. And you still don't allow those TV
all the time.
those too.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, come on, Taylor. We're gonna say bye. And it was such a pleasure to have you, girlfriend. You're gonna be on it next in a couple
Thank
of
you
weeks.
so much.
Yes.
Okay.
Before Miss Connie closes the show, we would like to encourage our viewers and listeners to visit Operation Confidence resource page on our website for some amazing resources. Also, we would like to inform everyone about Operation Confidence Positive Redirection Team. It's a group of male and female veterans who are mentors having overcome similar challenges and situations transitioning back into mainstream society. To be connected or become a team member, email us at info@operationconfidence.org. Again, info@operationconfidence.org. Connie?
Thank you. And as always, we want to remind our viewers and listeners that our goal for the show is to raise awareness about Operation Confidence's mission, which is to provide stable housing with a wide range of supportive services. So we encourage everyone to get behind our grassroots effort. We need all the help we can get. And then also want to inform you also, please don't forget to subscribe to Americans Invisible Heroes on our YouTube channel. To date, we have over 135,000 views, and it goes up every week. And lastly, we want to let you know that Operation Confidence Invisible Heroes is also streaming on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon, iHeart, Stitcher, our own Instagram, Twitch, and of course, Operation Confidence's blog. So we want to thank you so much. And it was a great show, except where I glitched, like you say, Charles. It happens, that's right. So we'll see everyone next week. And thank you for coming on the show.
I have a video. I was probably going to die right out of it. Oh, go ahead. You got it. Good. Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
America's Invisible
Next week.
Hero.